Hey, everybody. See, it worked. Welcome to the TED Show. We are episode 67. Happy Thursday, the last day of November. And I am here with my guest, Jon Houdyschell. I had to ask him this morning. I didn't want to pronounce it wrong. CEO of Trend Aviation, and he has been kind enough to come and do the early show today. And I'm excited to have you here. Look, we have somebody on, so let's make sure. And Gert is actually the one who introduced me to the gentleman whose card I had you take from USF yesterday. So you can see that she's coming on. Let us know that you can hear us, and I know that you can see us because you're on, but let us know that you can hear us and kind of give me the thumbs up. We're in a different room today, and so we had to play with the lighting a little bit, but Jon has been very gracious about moving around the table. So thank you for being here. Let me know you guys can hear us. I'm going to keep watching until somebody says, yes, you're golden. So we met at an M Lounge event.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
So I can't remember who. Oh, Josh. Josh he introduced us, and we were upstairs at that beautiful lounge there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a gorgeous place right on Orange Avenue. And I don't even know what event we were there for.
I believe it was a healthcare.
Yeah, I think you're. Oh, yes. It was Allie McCarroll's event.
Yep.
Allie McCarroll's event. Allie, see, you helped bring us together.
There you go.
And Josh. And we hit it off. You're just such an easy guy to talk to. So when Josh kind of took me aside and was like, this guy's a bigwig.
I think he said he needs a big wig. Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, we've been talking about hair all morning too. But he said he's got a aviation company, and you know, when you hear that, I'm like, oh my God, what does that mean? He's going to be all sorts of snooty, and you're just awesome to talk to. And so he suggested we come on the show, and we talked about maybe doing a show on a plane in the future, which would be awesome. Mm-hmm. I'm sure there's Wi-Fi. We'll figure that out, but I won't be dealing with the 18th floor Wi-Fi. And that was it. And so here you are. Thank you for coming. And we have a guest over here. I can't say her name or show her face right now, but
okay,
you can.
Oh, okay. Well, I that's one of the things I was going to talk about in a bit.
Okay, let's go. Let's start.
Jennifer Yon from
Hi, Jennifer.
Success. It's kind of our.
Hi.
You know,
she says hi. She doesn't want to come on. She doesn't want to come on camera.
And then I'll
say hi.
Hi.
She looks beautiful today, so you can't not see Jennifer. Look.
So, hi.
There's Jennifer. Thanks for coming.
Moral support.
Jarrell, thanks for telling us we can see. Carlin Rothy says your hair is perfect. Love the jacket. Thank you.
Whose jacket?
And whose hair?
Yeah.
I'm dying to know. So tell us. It's totally hers. So give us the history. Like, how did you get in? You don't just all of a sudden say one day, all right, I'm going to have an aviation company. Or maybe you do.
Well, yes and no. I mean, it's background. I'm an airline pilot by background. Worked with regionals and major airlines, U.S. Airways, American, some experience with NetJets aviation as well. So that's really the inspiration behind it. And you know, as a pilot, I'm passionate about it. But along the way, you start to see the product and people, and it you see that things aren't working. There's a better way. That's that old phrase that a lot of entrepreneurs use, right?
Right.
So
well, yeah. So you flew commercial airlines, as she said, and so yeah. I mean, and of course, it's completely different. We were talking about it earlier. Since 9/11, the before 9/11, after 9/11, the world's completely different in the aviation world, especially, and so many changes. And it seems like I just went to Dallas Fort Worth, and it's amazing the differences at each airport and with each airline.
Yeah.
And so there's really, you think there'd be a rhyme and reason, but there's just not. And so travel used to be this really cool, elite, fun, you got dressed up, and now people dread it. They hate the security lines. All of the things that are necessary. I'm not saying security is not necessary, because I definitely feel protected having a marshal on an international flight or things like that. But you're right, people want comfort. They want to not have to deal with the hassle. And I'm sure that that's kind of where it came from for you, because you had to deal with all of that stuff post 9/11.
Yeah, absolutely. And it really boils down to when you look at this, to process, because you know, you can take let's say a more modern parlance to this is Uber or Lyft. which we were just talking about that.
I had to take a lift here today.
Yeah. So, what essentially is the difference between that and a cab? There's not. It's both A to B transportation that gets you there, but the process for some of the ride-sharing apps is so much more enjoyable.
Right.
And that affects your perceptions for the whole experience.
Right, because Uber it came out of nowhere. I'd heard about it, but when I first heard about it, I thought, how is that ever going to work? Mm-hmm. Because previously, taxis, you got them to and from the airport, unless you're in a big city like New York. Florida, that wasn't something you used normally for regular transportation, so I couldn't figure out how anybody would. Again, he had the foresight to know what he was doing. Shirley, I'd love to tilt the camera down, but you get my big head today. I don't know what to tell you. Love you for the comment, though. But look at what it's done. It's changed the entire thought process. When I don't have a car, like I had an issue with car this morning, immediately I go to Lyft or Uber. Mm-hmm. It's not even, and that's become a verb now. Are you going to Lyft here? Are you going to Uber here? I mean, it's just taken over our culture. So I understand that. I mean, you have to kind of think outside the box, and that's what you did. But I think a lot of people think that private aviation or what you offer is so out of their reach, and so they think it's only for the ultra rich.
And that's our biggest obstacle is people don't realize that they can afford this. We're trying to get past the stigma of, oh, it's private. Well, private air travel for the rest of us is our tagline. We use that. What we offer as kind of our core product is Trend Shuttle. We've opened up a network in Florida. We like to call it, we're building infrastructure.
I love it.
All right, so it's kind of this building future type stuff. And what you realize is that there's a lot of infrastructure already existing, sitting around within the state of Florida. Florida, particularly in this part of the country, there's so many airports. You could spit and hit one in just about any part of the state because so many were built during the Second World War.
Sure. And we don't think about them because we only think of the larger ones like OIA or what is it, MCO on the actual.
And all have, all of them, without exception, have private terminals and facilities that are already open, and actually some of them are quite nice. So we're utilizing those facilities. We've set out a route network, a schedule, and a shuttle, and we use regional aircraft, which we've now retrofitted, and some are actually being painted. As
you were saying, they're being painted.
Yeah.
I love that.
So we're increased sound, soundproofing, adding Wi-Fi, better carpets, wood grain textures, and so forth to make it a little more pleasant experience. And then the process part kicks in. We have a mobile app. So we talked about technology earlier. That's really kind of the gateway. You use a mobile app to book with us, 30-second booking. You can show up to the airport 15 minutes prior to your departure. Or another service that we're going to be offering in this downtown area is we'll send a vehicle over here. We can pick you up, Ted, downstairs outside of the Citrus Club, take you to the plane's door at no extra cost. But we're starting out some of our round trips to particular city pairs. We were in specials for $350 a person.
Wow.
We have an unlimited flight membership, $1,800 a month, as much as you want to fly on our schedule. Orlando, Tallahassee, Fort Lauderdale, Key West right now are the initial cities that are going to be offered. Beyond that, we're going to open it up to Tampa, Jacksonville, Panhandle, to better connect the state and point to point with some of those cities.
That's amazing. So let's talk about the app for a second because that's fascinating to me. So right now it's Florida for the app. Like that's where you can book.
Correct.
Okay.
Right,
so what was the 360, 350 special?
Just like Key West.
Okay, so you could fly private, which this is what it is, folks, which is awesome. 350, 15 minutes before. Mm-hmm. I mean, just for we were talking about the way things have changed, millennials, all sorts of things before the show, and I think we all want that. We're all about comfort, and we want it now. And so you're offering that in the aviation world, which I don't think most people thought that they would ever have access to.
We really want to change the way people get around on at least a regional, if not kind of mid-range level right now. And that seems to be missing as airlines. Early in my career, I flew for a commuter airline, and we did these same cities. So the idea is not, super original, but it's innovated in this more contemporaneous sense that you're going to use a mobile app. We're not going to go to the terminal and
I
have
love
to.
that.
I mean, if you fly out of MCO, it's really. I think the only mode of conveyance missing is a boat. I mean, you walk, you take a train, you park, you take a bus.
You do.
We need the Disney boat to take you across the
We
lake.
absolutely need that.
So
you're right, and so when you go, and I've been all over, you have too, I'm sure, and it's really, again, back to the airport itself. Can be such a crazy experience for everyone, and that's why there's this dread. Nobody likes to fly. I mean, once you get on the plane, then you're also scrunched together. We had a flight. I won't mention it because apparently they blackball you these days if you talk about airlines online. And there were 3 of us across. And when I say 3 of us across, you would have had to weigh 5 pounds and be this little in order for you to have any room on that flight. And it was for somebody who's tall or somebody who's got a lot of leg, or anybody really who's a normal human being. It's crowded and uncomfortable, and it's not a great experience. So you hate it. You hate to fly. And it seems like the airlines are getting more and more about squeezing as many people in to the planes as they possibly can. And even if you want to bump up to first class or business class, the difference between regular cabin and business or first class is so astronomical that 99% of the people can't afford that.
Well, the price is, but the difference in level of service really isn't that great
I agree.
anymore either.
It's just that I get a drink first when I'm on first class.
I think you get.
That's all I get.
You get a Diet Pepsi.
I might.
But it's interesting. One of the major airlines just posted an article the other day when they were referring to what are the best service attributes, best experience attributes, and et cetera. And as they've taken away meals, taken away seating, taken away so much, and in fairness to them, they are treated like utilities.
I know.
But
I know.
that the only thing they considered as a marker of service was just acknowledgement to the passenger that they're there.
Wow.
And it's one of those.
That's fascinating.
Maybe the intent was to be profound, but at the same time, it's come to this.
Right.
So.
Well, and you've got all the cheaper fare places, but then they get you with the extras. When we flew on one of those particular airlines, I'm not a fan of the cattle call, but it's definitely gotten a little more organized. But one of our suitcases was 51.2 pounds. So in the middle of the airport, you're having to move 1.2 pounds worth of something from one suitcase to the other. So you're basically opening up all your luggage. I can't understand the security part of that. And moving it, and every time they have to weigh it, if it's 50.5 pounds, you still got to figure out the other 0.5 pounds where you're going to put it.
That's the audacity of you to pack that.
I mean, it's like, and you know what your choice is? That or pay the $75 for the piece of luggage. And it's just so hard when you're traveling. Most of the time you're traveling and you're already stressed out at the airport, and then to get there and have to deal with that. I just think what you're offering, there are so many people now who really, with the given environment in aviation and with flying, would take advantage of it.
And we are seeing some success with that. And thanks for the setup for the shameless plug, but we don't charge for those things. We don't charge for parking, for instance. And it may seem like a small piece. We don't charge for drinks, for Wi-Fi. We're building out new facilities here at Orlando Executive, and part of that is to actually have a concierge-like service with alcohol, with drinks, that people, when they're coming home from work, they can enjoy. They're going to Key West. Obviously, if they're leaving in the morning for Tallahassee, which we see a lot of state officials, they're not going to be indulging in that. But
right.
But the amenities are there, allegedly. But we don't encourage. But either way, it's brings some of the magic back. And if you look at any great brand out here, we live in Disney's backyard, or Disney's in our backyard, however you look at it. Great brands like Apple or Nike, there's a magic to what they do.
Agreed.
And they don't really talk about their products so much, and they themselves have emphasized it, but they talk about their customers, their people doing what they do best and using their product and being empowered with it. And that's what we want to look at. And this year ahead, like with IBA, we're really focusing on our clients that, that have been with us over the years, and our new clients and businesses that have a branch location in Tallahassee or other locations over the state, or they have a second home in the Keys, they live in Orlando,
Right.
They do a lot of business in Tallahassee, and honestly, they I like to tell people all the time, with our shuttle membership, you could send an employee or an associate to a meeting or to close a deal in Tallahassee. You yourself could be in Miami doing business, and then the next day take your family to the Keys. And you couldn't do that much flying yourself if you had a onesie and a cape.
A onesie?
Well,
I didn't know we were going to go there this
yeah.
early, but all right, a onesie.
Superman couldn't do it.
I love you too, Danielle. You're awesome. Hey, somebody just asked, and I believe, so the name of the company is Trend Aviation, and we'll post all this later when we're finished. And it's flytrendaviation.com. Yes?
Flytrendaviation.com or iflytrend.com.
iFlyTrend.
Hashtag iflytrend on any social media platform will get you there. But do you mind if I
Please,
put an offer out
I
here?
want you to
We'd
put
like
an
to
offer.
Extend to the listeners out here our Cyber Monday special. Now, normally the unlimited flight membership is $1,800 per month with a 6-month commitment. Today, for listeners on Ted's show, we'd like to extend an offer for $1,000 per month, unlimited flight membership for just a 3-month commitment. So
That's amazing.
$3,000. There are flights that would cost you. And if you fly for business, or you fly any regular amount, then you'll.
And that's
know.
for the shuttle services. That's
shuttle
Florida.
services.
The 4 or 5 spots, right?
Yep.
It's awesome.
So,
God, that's amazing.
yeah.
Thank you for doing that. I love it.
If you're interested in that, write us at info at flytrendaviation.com or 407-374-3591.
And we'll post all this when we share and hashtag everything. I want to start flying for closings. I love that. You know what? You should take that up with Sarah Luff and ask her if you could start flying for, because Sarah could totally use this. Sarah's, Danielle just started with a new company, and Sarah is her boss. And Sarah has offices all over Florida and other states, but all over Florida she travels a lot. And so imagine what you could do with $1,000 a month.
And we offer for corporations, and there's a few companies here that take advantage of that if they buy more than one, just two memberships, they can rotate out whoever they want in their company.
That's awesome.
To travel.
So let me
it's actually
ask
a great
you,
business tool.
so because obviously people like to also get business tips.
Mm-hmm.
So when you decided to start the company, you had the vision for the shuttle service, how you were going to handle it, the pricing. Did people say, you are absolutely crazy, Jon? Or was there a lot of support? Or how did you get past that? Because I think a lot of people who start businesses want to develop an app, want to figure out how to get their startup off the ground. They get that. They get a lot of flack, or they don't have anybody who understands what they're trying to do or their vision, so they don't know what to do. So how did you get past that?
I believe it or not, this is our 10th year in business.
That's amazing.
We started out as aircraft management, and a good friend of mine and I started the business up. He now lives in Alaska, but and at the same time was flying the line at the airlines, and we grew into probably, if not the or one of largest aircraft management firms in the area. That in itself, there's a, they say as an entrepreneur that you have to have a new threshold of pain.
That is true.
Managing assets, as you probably know, you have to have an even greater level of pain with that. But it allowed us to build an infrastructure and a client base and to learn a lot. So we then took it to building the air carrier certificate and building a team around this. And
plus, you had to deal with all of the laws and compliance in your industry, which we all think we have, but if you get into aviation, that's a whole new level of compliance and rules.
I think we're only akin to healthcare and regulated and cash flow.
Right.
So Yeah.
And that's a lot to overcome. So, like if somebody, but you developed, I guess the message is that you started off in one particular area, and then you had a vision and you grew, but you continue to go with it. But how did you get to the app? Because a lot of people ask me, Ted, who does app development? How do you work with an app developer? Do I need an app for my business? But in reality, an app for your business is completely unheard of. Like, I mean, you could use one of the XYZ airline apps, but it's not going to be the same.
Let me talk about the app for a second, because that's integral to Shuttle as it's rolling out. We didn't want to have an app just to say we had an app. I mean, you remember the late 90s, everybody suddenly had a website, and it was on movie trailers and it was on everything, and they just had a flyer, right? We didn't want to have an app just to have something on your smartphone. You might as well have a mobile site. But we wanted to do things that were truly innovative and were useful and that empowered people to travel. And I thought a lot about my own needs as somebody who, over the last, decade and a half has put 15,000 hours in the air.
Wow.
And
That's
running
a lot.
and starting a business at the same time as being a pilot, flying some internationally, flying some back and forth to the West Coast. You're constantly trying to keep up with your schedule. And like a lot of people, I'm a dad first and foremost.
Right.
I've got a family, and you want to get home to them.
Right.
So, how do you manage your time with it? Right, because it's really, when you fundamentally break it down, the airplanes are great, they're sexy, they're fun, they're cool, but we've kind of made it a commodity out of time.
Yes.
We're selling time. So the app is rolling out. It's not only just a booking tool, but it's this account dashboard. It has location services that are going to be enabled in it. It will actually tell you, Ted, it's time to leave for the airport. Based on
I
traffic,
probably need that.
Based on your location, because that's one of the first questions. What time do I need to be there?
Always.
When you pull into the parking lot of the terminal, no matter which port that we're at, it's going to assign you a seat. It's going to prompt you for your next flight. It'll give you the ability in version 2 that we're already working on rolling out to initiate a flight to share. So let's say you, I, and Jennifer, we want to just have a flight to ourselves because it's another part to our company. We just do individual charters. But what are we going to do? We're going to let's go to Miami for the night, Let's all do this. But we know 2 or 3 other people that are more than likely interested that are in our social media circles, and it will reach out to them.
Wow.
So we can create our own marketplace as a consumer, so the consumer's empowered and has more control over their flight.
That's
and
amazing.
Can actually control their costs.
But that puts a lot on you all to be that flexible, right? Because you have to be super flexible with people because of all of the options that you're giving them.
It is, but it's not. It's that middle ground. All right. So what we see is you have this sort of Bolshevik airline experience that we've all described, right?
Yeah.
There's no flexibility there.
No.
And then there's this uber flexibility that you have in I own a jet, or I've chartered the jet, it's mine. We found that middle ground, and we feel like there's a lot of sand in that sandbox to play and create and make our own world.
I love that.
So it's a compromise, but we feel it's easily dealt with.
So what's the next thing in aviation? Like, it seems like we were talking about the commercial airlines they're tightening everything. Nobody wants to fly, but you all are creating this world where are you going to expand past the shuttle? Is the shuttle going to expand to other cities, to other states? Is that the part of the vision?
We see this working, we see it working anywhere that high-speed rail works. Okay, any city or any region that'll work. Ultimately, I'd like to be up in the Mid-Atlantic states. The Raleigh, North Carolina area seems like a great place for us to position ourselves.
Awesome.
If you took a 500 nautical mile circle and you drew it around Orlando, and you drew it around Charlotte or Raleigh, and then you drew it around, let's say, West Hampton, New York, you would have enough overlaps in market to really cover the whole East Coast. So if I were dreaming big, that's where I would be. On the horizon, we do have options for 50-seat Embraer regional jets. that go beyond the new 19-seat aircraft that we're pushing out on shuttle.
Is that what it is, 19 seats? I was going to ask you that.
Yeah, it's a 19-seat Fairchild SA227. So I just made that up.
That's okay. I was going to.
That was great.
You could say SSA 45731. I don't know.
8675309.
Yeah, I love it. We were just talking about 80s music.
We just lost every millennial watching the show.
No, they're texting their parents right now and asking them what that means.
Yeah, they actually dialed it.
They did.
They wouldn't because it's not 10-digit dialing.
It's totally
true story. My younger brother, when I was a kid, dialed that number.
Oh, he did, and what happened?
Well, some lady answered, and
Was her name Jenny? Because that would have made the story.
Neither was Rick Springfield.
That's awesome. We were talking about the 80s, and that was sort of like the last era of what feels like the last good feel era we've had, because things have been just changed so much, and obviously after 9/11, and even in the 90s, it's definitely changed since we were kids. Yes, I was a kid then. I wasn't a kid in the 50s. I had somebody ask me the other day, "You look so good. Are you 60? No.
Ouch.
It's all right. I unfriended them. It's fine. They're fine. This was awesome. You did an amazing job. We're going to post everything online, including the phone number, the URL, the hashtags. It was great. I'm so fascinated by this because I really feel like people do want this, and now you're offering it to them and giving them an easy way to access it, and an affordable way.
Yeah,
really, that's really what it's amazing. So, any last minute things you want to share with them?
Just a couple things. We're I've mentioned IBA Success Magazine. We're going to be a feature article, cover article in January for that issue. We'll be having a kind of an unveil special event January 6th.
Nice.
So you'll be able to check on IBA's website for tickets to that. Jennifer, you got IBAsuccess.com?
IBAsuccess.com.
We'll put that on when we post.
We'll put that on too as well. And I'd love to have you back, over at the airport.
I would love to.
And maybe we could do a live shoot from a plane.
I think we should. Wouldn't that be fun,
cool.
guys?
So.
I would love that. I don't know how we'd figure out the camera because, as you can see, right? So that's the camera. You didn't get nervous, but a lot of people stare on that and they get frozen.
Yeah, and that would really stink flying the plane. But
no doubt. Wow. Yeah, no, that would be bad.
Yeah.
But you've been awesome. Thank you so much for being flexible. Thank you for your generosity. I think that offer that Jon's made is amazing. And we'll put up all that information when we post and repost. It was awesome, man. Thank you for being here. I really love it. So this is a part of the show where I don't have my remote yet. But so I get to get up and hit the finish button. If I had Jennifer try to do it, she'd knock it over. But love you guys. Thank you. We'll see you soon.